And our guest on this segment is Dr. Bob Whiddon from Hope Harbor. Dr. Bob, good to have you.
Thank you very much.
And I call him Dr. Bob affectionately because I just found out a moment ago it's Dr. Bob, but you don't have to call him that, right?
You don't have to call me that, no, sir.
Double PhD?
Well, a PhD and a Doctor of Ministry degree. So,
Boy, am I am I in the wrong spot?
Well,
it's good to have you. I guess you were just bored and.
I was bored. I enjoy study. I enjoy reading. I enjoy research. And so I just kept on doing it, and eventually I got 2 doctorates out of it.
Well, tell us, if you will, what is Hope Harbor?
Hope Harbor is a residential care facility north of Claremore here, and we take care of at-risk youth, and our main emphasis is family reconciliation, because we take the children and work with them and help them get ready to go back home, but we also work with the families to get them ready to receive the child back home. And so we pride ourselves in calling ourselves a family reconciliation organization, excuse me.
That's fine. I doubt that folks out there have any idea how severe some of their friends and neighbors' family situation might be.
It's pretty severe anymore. We started out as just an orphanage, just like most orphanages did after the big World War II. But over the years, we decided that we needed to do more than just house kids until they could go off to college or go off to the military. We had to do something to heal them and to heal their families. And so we changed all kinds of things, and now we're family reconciliation.
I recall someone once said that there's nothing more satisfying than taking a broken child and helping that child to heal.
Absolutely.
Which is a monumental task.
Oh, yeah.
And more often than not, you guys get hold of these youngsters when they've already crossed the line in many cases. Right.
We should have had them a few years before they actually got there.
Yeah.
But they're not exhibiting some of the really bad behavior that really gets their parents, excited or feeling hopeless or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then that's when they call us. And we have a program where we put the kids through a 9-level process to kind of get them mature. We call it Growing in Character Model. We actually have an accredited school on our campus, Hope Harbor Academy. We can actually graduate kids from high school. We'll actually have 5 graduations this next summer with a high school diploma. We also have full-time counselors, so the kids go through counseling at least once a week, along with group counseling. And then we put them into a Christian home environment because all of our house parents or residential life specialists are Christians. And so they get even therapeutic parenting, basically, in the cottage situation. Now, at the same time, we have the parents come to campus, and we put them through their own 9-level process. We call it Intentional Hope, where they kind of work up and work through some things of their own. And when they reach level 9 and the kids reach level 9 and they're ready to go back home, we have a great ceremony. And that is very rewarding.
Is this a faith-based organization?
Yes, we are faith-based. We make no bones about that. And it started in 1947, actually. Churches of Christ in the area, mostly in North Tulsa, got together and wanted to start a children's home. And so it was originally called Church of Christ Children's Home. And then because it was located in Turley, they called it the Turley Children's Home. So for a long time, it was called Turley. So a lot of people around here remember Turley Children's Home. But that part of Tulsa kind of deteriorated, and it wasn't safe for our children or our employees to be there. And so in 1996, they moved out to Claremore, actually 10 miles north of here, and we started a new campus, and we changed the name to Hope Harbor to kind of signify that we do offer hope for children and family.
And I would imagine, I'm going to say this is totally out of context, but there are times the parents have to be brought in kicking and screaming. Am I right?
The parents? Mm-hmm. Mostly the kids come in kicking and screaming. But the parents they've lost hope, and they want to be there. Now, when we invite them back for family counseling, sometimes they they don't like to kind of look to themselves as maybe part of the problem.
Exactly.
And so, but we help them work through that because everyone's part of the problem.
How do you get the kids? Where do they come from?
People just know about us. We do not advertise. It's just word of mouth.
So they're not sent there by the courts?
No, we don't take any money from the state, and so the courts don't have anything to do with us. The state doesn't have anything, except the state licenses us. And every once in a while they ask us if we can take one of their children. But most of it is just private placement and people who just know about us, even siblings of other kids who have gone through and graduated from our program. We just have a good reputation in the area.
You know, youngsters today, there are folks out there who are going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. Youngsters today face so much more than they did when I was a puppy. So the pressures on them sometimes seem insurmountable. Do you get youngsters when they just can't be fixed, or are you able to turn all that come through the door?
Well, of the ones that we accept, we can turn them all around. We are a level B facility according to the state of Oklahoma, this Department of the DHS.
What does that mean?
What that means is that we can take all kinds of problem kids, but we do not take kids who are drug addicted or kids who are violent. And so we can take them up to that point, in fact, even a little bit further because we're just very good at what we do. But once they cross that line into drug use or violence, we're just not equipped for that. But the kids who do come to us and we catch them in time, we can change them, we can turn them around.
It's ironic because there are so many ways that they exhibit the problems they have. The cutting process, where you have a child that constantly cuts his or her arm or leg or whatever, or uses straight pins on themselves. Some form of letting the world know that they're in trouble.
Right.
And you've dealt with those.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about. And it seems to me that sometimes, I don't know how folks who work with broken children, I don't know how they make the turn. I don't know how they get them around the corner and say, look, life's going to be hard, but you can handle it.
Absolutely. Most of the kids act out, even with the cutting, because of trauma in their past. And so everything that we do is trauma responsive or trauma informed care. And we just know that that's just a symptom of what's down deep inside. And so that's where we start. That's why we have counseling. That's why we have the growing in character. That's why the parents come in and do the same thing, because we want to figure out what the trauma was and then kind of go from there and get to the point where they can kind of accept it and go back home and live happily ever after, so to speak.
And you're bound by the same laws, I would assume,
yes.
that state or hospital counselors are bound by. You can't talk about specific cases. You can't talk about specific families.
Absolutely.
Which is as it should be. So there is protection there for the child and the parent.
Absolutely, yes.
Let's say somebody's watching right now and they've got a problem upstairs, screaming, breaking glass, that they've lost control. Or you've got a child with a drunk father. How do they just call? Is that the best way to do it?
The best way is to call us. We have an intake coordinator that is one of the best I've ever seen, and she will take and listen, and even if she knows that this child is maybe too much for us to take at the moment, she has resources and she helps them find other places in this area where maybe they can take their child. But we don't want to just say, no, sorry, we can't help them. We want to help them as much as possible. And if possible, we're going to bring them in and we will work with them and just see what happens.
You're doing good work, my friend. Dr.
Thank you very
Bob,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate what you're doing out there. That's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives. If you know someone who could use the services provided that you just heard about, call them. We'll be glad you did. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.